Welcome back to ShopDog-Garage. We're going to work on the Courier a little today, and we're going to do something that's going to seem a little anti-intuitive. We're going to drain the cooling system. Two things. One, I think I'm going to change that so that in the future, if I do need a port, just in case I can't talk them out of fuel injection, would like to already just have that port. And I really want to measure what sizes would fit perfectly on those two and see if I can find a hose that'll do that. I realize what we've done, just cinching it down, probably would work and probably would work forever. But what if I can find a piece of hose that's necked from one size to another and I can cut out the piece I want? That would be my preference. So that's where we're going to look at. Okay, ShopDog's going to take a break. He made me get the pump out because this is the least messy way of doing this. But, you know, just pump out the rad. And we will spill no matter what when we pop the hose down there. But if we can reduce it to just, you know, a pint or a little half a cup or something, that sure would be nice. So I'll keep emptying this. And don't forget, we cut off that bypass, tapped it, and put a plug in. So on the new one, got to do the same thing. So I'm just carefully taking a hacksaw, slowly taking that down. The better we do that, the nicer it'll be. Okay, so we've got that cut off, and then I just gave it a quick wire wheel, kind of clean it up a little bit, make it look a little better. Then we'll drill that out and tap it. So it went to the 7/16 hole, and now we're going to take our 1/4 MPT, tap that, and then we'll only tap it as deep as it takes to get our fitting flush. All right, so I think we're getting pretty close. I just do a little bit, fit it, do a little bit, fit it. I want it pretty close to flush. And also you can see the chips start to add up. So I'll clean it off with a little brake clean, dip a little more grease on there, go a little further, go a little further. But yeah, that's going to work. There. So we've got our plug there and our future expansion port here. Remember, no thermostat, so that's the same temperature. And I don't think any change to this hose will be necessary at all. So that's kind of nice too. And you can see that actually fit pretty nice. It couldn't reuse that O-ring gasket. It came with its own paper gasket. So I threw a little gasket sealer on it on the one side. So if you do take it off, the gasket's going to come off with the thermostat, which is so much easier to take over and clean than the intake is. So it spilled a little bit. I'll get that cleaned up. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to pick the car up though and pop that hose. And let's make some measurements. Okay, measuring the actual neck portion on the pump and on the rad gives me 1 3/4 and 1 1/2. This piece here, which is obviously metric, the actual lip here is almost 1 1/2, and the lip here is almost 1.75. But that gives me some guide as to my error, and I can use this to go look for a hose. I found a 7616 in my boxes of tricks, and it'll be a much snugger fit. I don't remember what project this was bought for, but it looks like if I snip that out, if I can get it to fit on everything, that'll be perfect. All right, we're on a little hot water to get this hose stretched a little bit, and hopefully it's going to fit. Okay, this is the opposite problem we had before. These are a little snug, and holy monkeys, that wasn't fun to put on. So, once that gets a few pressure cycles through it, we'll decide what we think. It's not the end of the world to pull all this, but man, that's tight. All right. Well, let's get her back down, fill her up, and see what happens. Remember, we learned when we're emptying this, just use the funnel. Empty it into the funnel, because when air pockets pop up, and you've got this hose pressurized down into the tank, it's going to bubble over. ShopDog's getting nervous because, you know, last time I did this from cold and doing work. We made a big mess. There's a little coolant here and there from me doing this, but we're getting ready to set this up. I went through and did another tightening sequence as best you can. It's hard to get in there. So we're going to hook the battery up. Shouldn't be any sparks. Nothing should be on. So should be able to just, there we go. Nothing is on. So no big fat spark because this doesn't have a big subwoofer. Now obviously as soon as the pump cycles, that'll go down a little bit. So give it a minute, give it the smell test, and then we're gonna go ahead and cycle this. All right, so I haven't smelled anything, I don't see anything, so we're gonna get in. Should have had enough time to restart that. Let's see. Yep, that's restarted. So we happen to know that it'll cycle, and it is. And that should bleed a lot of the air right out, like it did. So I will look at adding coolant in just a little bit. So as soon as that is done, although I didn't lose any, so we should be pretty close right in here, but I'll check it. So I won't start it without you guys. So like I said, we didn't really lose anything. We're right here on the neck, and honestly that's probably over full, so luckily we have our little overflow tube. Hopefully it's pointed towards a bucket. If not, I can make it pointed towards a bucket, because it is going to spit a little when it pressurizes because it's over full. So I'm going to wipe up excess coolant, put a cap on it, and we'll get ready to start her. ShopDog says we should probably stop the music for this so that we can hear anything. Alright, let's give her a couple pump shots. And you can see there was still fuel in the bowl. So 2 pump shots. Okay. Battery is charged and... choke. I had the key on too long, the choke opened. Oh, okay, that's my own fault. Yeah, bummer, bummer, bummer. Give her a little more fuel. Wasn't thinking about the choke. Okay, let me get her warm. I don't know a way to cheat that choke closed. I can put her on the step, which I've already done, but I'm not going to wait 2 hours for that to cool down. So, I wanted to show you guys a cold start, and I wasn't even thinking because I wanted to also circulate that water. So, hopefully she starts. Yeah, she's not going to like that choke being open. Okay, I've had to play foot with it. Oh, sorry guys. I'll try to do one this week with a cold start from scratch. So, I don't ever want to cheat though. We'll wait. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, that was my own fault for letting that sit on all that time. So, let me let her warm up a little and we'll go from there. Just to show you that it is the choke, if I start closing her off a little, see how she runs a little better. So we'll let her warm up. She's dead cold, but we'll also look for leaks, because that's really what we're here for. That fluid was already there. I spilled that and I couldn't reach it. I'm looking now at connections, because we should be building pressure. You know, it's not a lot yet because we don't have a lot of heat. So if we get drama and excitement again, I want to catch it on film if I can this time. I know I caught the start of it when he said, oh, it's steaming, but I didn't catch it actually flinging. It went crazy. So we got buckets down there. We're ready this time. So, yeah. Besides, heat cycling the coolant again helps swell all the fittings, make everything seal up a little better. Gives me a chance to make sure that this is seated good, that these two don't leak. See, that's why I like to flush those out. You can play with the tap and just go a little, make it, it looks nicer. See the way they sent that? See how it sticks up? I don't like that. But, got an odd suspicion that that'll be a sensor at some point. Just a guess. Yeah. So far, that hasn't blown up, and that's always good. We don't have a ton of temperature in here yet. Let me go take a look and see where we're at. I'm imagining we're not even barely on the gauge. No, we're not even lifting that gauge because it's only 84 degrees. There. We found out you guys couldn't read those before. So yeah, it was only 84. So we'll let her idle and warm up a little bit. But gotta know. Yeah, I didn't even think about the electric choke. I should have unplugged that all that time. So far nothing bad happening. Oh, we're building a little pressure. Yeah, because it may only be 84 right here, but it's hot over along the cylinder walls. ShopDog is not impressed. He thinks this is crazy town and noisy. Okay, so far nothing bad. Okay, but I'd really like to get it hot enough to kick the fan, and then we're gonna let her cool all night because that's part of checking for leaks. So see, we're up to 91. So as near as I can figure, the warm-up strategy that fan controller has is to very slowly move water until it's hot enough. In fact, it might not even be moving water at all right now, but as it warms up, it starts to turn it a little faster and a little faster and a little faster. So we're getting a nice even flow. In fact, I can feel, there's pressure. I don't know how useful that is because that little tip is supposed to be in the coolant. These work better on the radiators, well, like this radiator. Oh, ignore those. You didn't see that. Okay, let's see how that would be into coolant. It would be a little more useful there. So, yeah, you can see that exhaust moved. So far, no radical leaks, no radical explosions. Makes us happy. Okay, we are on the gauge now. So we're over 100, yep, 109. And you can see just how much yeah, and he wants to look at traction bars. Gonna have to do some measuring and figuring on what might fit in there. I don't think your old school Lakewoods or anything are gonna work there. I think because of the way the spring eye is, I think you're probably talking like a Caltrax or a Caltrax knockoff. Something with a little drop spring perch location. So, all right, we're starting to get a little temp in here. And so far, no explosions, and that's good. Yeah, and you can hear just how nice it idles. Hi, Mr. Man. So, oh, I can smell coolant burning off from where I spilled it. Oh boy, that's something. Yeah, and I'll figure something I like a little better here later. But for now, that's doing the job, keeping it out of this spinning fan of death right here. Because we don't want it in there. We also don't want it on those header tubes. So, but yeah, I wouldn't mind making like a little bracket or something that these could lay over and attach to. Kind of like the wiring gutter in the Corvette underneath the AC compressor in a C3 Corvette. Okay, so we're hitting 140 on that gauge, 133 on that gauge. Remember we talked last time about they're measuring in almost the same spot, but not. So this one, there's going to be water eddying from the head here. That's the Dakota. Whereas at this point, that's already mixed across and come around. So this will read a little lower than that. So we're fine with that. That, and honestly, they're not precision instruments. They're always, couple plus or minus 10%. So far, nothing crazy yet. We're ready to shut her down just in case, though. Oh, kind of nerve-wracking. I don't know if I will do fast forward through some of this or just leave the whole bit. I probably, well, if this is less than a 18-minute video, we'll just leave it all run. So you see just how nice that belt is tracking. I'm real happy with that. It's not offset or anything. So that's not, shouldn't want to throw the belt. Yeah, you can see steam from where we spilled coolant when we took that thermostat housing off. There's nothing you can do that. They always make a mess because there's coolant pulled in there. Let's see if you guys can see. And you'll notice we have amazing oil pressure. Let's see, 140 on the gauge over there. Yeah, 145 over here. So luckily we still have plenty of fuel because I know this thing is a little hungry. Alright. Oh yeah, we're under pressure now. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. That hose is hard. Hey, Shop Dog. Okay. This is the part where we just pay attention now. And unfortunately, as much as I don't like doing it on cars, there's no vacuum in this thing. So we did wind up going to a mechanical secondary on this one. The first time I worked on this, it had a little vacuum secondary 4160 on it that I may still have. No, oh no, that's long gone. Never mind. There was no way we were ever going to get that to run correctly on this. So we built this 4150 up. And originally, we actually had side hungs on it. But these made it so difficult that what we did, obviously, is hung the bowls backwards. Brought it over here and then made some tubing to go under. Not traditional, but one, fuel pumps on this side, so that works. But two, with these hard lines right here, it was just too difficult to get fuel to these center hungs. So, yeah, and then even with the side hungs, the log interfered and it was ugly. So this was actually a pretty nice solution. I'm very happy with it. You also notice now that we've cycled it a couple times, we're not having as much leaking off this carb. Obviously there's a little, you see down there, you know, and that's this here, because I still haven't pulled that. Until I'm happy with everything, I don't want to work on a different system. One thing at a time. Until I'm happy with the cooling system and the charging system and the new ignition system. I hate having 3 changes at a time. Until I'm happy with that, yeah, let's leave that alone. So let's check our temperatures. See, 180 here, 171 here. All right. So if we're going to have drama, it's going to be in the next couple minutes. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I have no idea if anybody can hear me or even if I'm in frame. But I am wearing a ShopDog shirt. Been wearing those for working in the shop a lot more. They're kind of comfy. Okay, so what I'm watching right now is that hose we just made. One thing that's nice is now that it's hot, it should relax a little bit and start taking a shape. I don't really want to stand over it because that time Kevin got a surprise. So yeah, the pump's got to be running now. Let's see if the pump's running. Yeah, see the flashing light that says EWP? That means the pump is running. But you know, the fan is not running, but the pump is, which we expect. We expect the pump to be running. Shop Dog's still concerned. He's worried that it might blow. All right, well, one thing we haven't checked is we obviously have a, oh, that's our little overflow. Remember I said we were probably over full. So as it's warming up, it's finding its level. So yeah, I'm glad we put that hose over a bucket or that'd have been in my little carpet. But yeah, that's this right here. The coolant is expanding to its actual size. When it's cold, the coolant will probably sit right here. and not up there, which is always a problem in old cars. People open the rad and they look in and it's down 2 inches, so then they fill it up. And then the next time they run it, it pees all that out as the coolant expands. So, no, it's typical for it to not be full to the top unless you have a recovery tank, which is a thing I want to put on this. Okay, the fan just kicked. God, oh wow. Yeah, we spilled some coolant. I can smell it. But I do want a recovery tank on here, because then when it's hot like this, that coolant would go in the tank, but when the engine is cold and you go to start it, it'll siphon back in through the cap. You know, it'll siphon that back. Look at that. That just came down that 10 degrees that fast. That just blows my mind. Yeah, so look at that. Wow. We'll let it cycle a couple more times and then we'll shut her down and let her start cooling. So she didn't blow up yet. You know, if we can do it 4 or 5 heat cycles with no drama, then we'll put the air cleaner on it and try it with the lid closed and see how that goes, you know. But yeah, this is interesting. I'm being followed around though. Somebody's not happy with all this noise. He's pretty tolerant of a lot of things, but not this. We've got the shop a little more open than it was just because of that coolant that had spilled. So letting that cycle. The fan has cycled 3 times now since I turned the camera off. So you can see we're not doing too bad, I think. She's idling nice. See, fan just kicked on. And she's warming up a little. That's a hard position to hold. See, and now she's coming back down already. So, yeah. It's about as big a fan as we could fit though. And boy, that thing just blows. I've said it before though, my biggest concern is where's all that air gonna go when the hood's closed? That'll be interesting. Alright, we just had one more cycle and I think we're gonna call it good at that and just shut her down. That will run, remember we learned last time, it's set currently from the factory that it's gonna cool it down 20 degrees. So we'll let that do its job. Oh yeah, you can feel it here. Oh, the radiator isn't too bad. Oh, that's kind of hotter over on that side. Okay. So yeah, we knew it was going to pee over. That's why we put the hose into the bucket. So yeah, and I got, it looks like that fitting right there, which is really not fun to tighten. I got to do that a little bit more. I don't see anybody else, but also let me heat cycle that once more and make sure, because sometimes that all swells and seats. So before I get too crazy and trying to get down there and having to remove all of this, let's just wait and see. And I know it's really close, but the pump isn't touching, so we'll go with it. Shop Dog and I are coming back out to see if anything more has boiled over. Oh, you can smell it in here still. Yeah, unfortunately, when you spill coolant, it really isn't a good way to get rid of it. So obviously we're not opening the cap at the moment. That's one thing that's nice. This reminds you, hey, it's hot in here. Don't open that. Just looking, see if I see anything. Here, let me grab the light. It might help you guys. So remember, we just changed that thermostat housing, so let's check that. I don't see any leaks. It's good and thick, though. I didn't expect anything. Let's check this fitting over here. No drips. Nothing with the hose, which we don't expect any problems with that hose. Alright. Yeah, I've got that one drip there. And honestly, I don't even know if that's from a leak or not. I should. I will feel around down there after it cools down. I don't want to wipe that up yet. And you can look down there and see. And I'm trying to get you guys down there. There you go. You can see the little hose that we cut down. So that seems to have survived with no issues. And of course, after it cools, we'll give everything a tighten that we can reach, you know. But I don't want to monkey with that fitting. It's really hard to snug. So let's wait on that. But I may, no, I may just leave everything where it is. We'll see. We're going to let this cool down. I may come out and check it one more time this afternoon. But I think that solves that problem. And I think I'm going to go in and do a little research. See if I can learn a thing or two. So at this point, thanks for watching.